Technically, I could say we didn't have schools. Standard schools that you can call a school by world standard, we didn't have.
In the last few years, there is total neglect of the education sector.
No equipment, no teachers, they're not teaching them. No classroom, the school no good, no good.
They don't have chair, they don't have good teachers. The teachers, because they are not well paid, they go out to go and fend for themselves.
If we continue in the rot, you give maybe ₦1 million to education, you chop 900,000 of it. You are not going to get anywhere.
Those who could afford it have taken their children to private schools. Those who could not, the poorest of the poor, have given up. They continue to send their children to these public schools where they have no hope of learning anything at all.
Typical rural schools in a poor community. And I want to see that as the challenge. How do you make that type of school effective?
How can we drive performance in schools? How can we start bringing accountability back to the school? How can we ensure that teachers and head teachers take back the responsibility of ensuring that they manage the schools?
Ina son makaranta don in ilimi. Ina so in zama malamin asibiti.
Look at the worst of situations and how can you turn it around? This is what is supposed to be the challenge.
By meeting this challenge and improving Nigeria's schools and the quality of education that our children receive, we can give Nigeria's children and our nation a brighter future. The Nigerian government and UK aid from the United Kingdom's Department for International Development are working together to reach this goal. The partnership is the Education Sector Support Program in Nigeria, or ESPIN. This film looks at the education challenges being faced in Nigeria and how the reforms that ESPIN is supporting are helping all of Nigeria's children to get the education they deserve.
These children are ours. And they belong to us. So we have to see to their development. And the most important development is the education development.
But after years of neglect, many schools don't even provide basic opportunities for learning.
For example, in the classes that we are supposed to have not more than 30-50 students, we find over 200 students in the class. In some of the schools, even 260. Actually, there was a classroom of 400. You can even imagine that not half of them could be in the classroom. So I will not blame parents if they do not send their pupils to school.
School buildings and facilities are inadequate. Teaching standards are low. Teachers receive inadequate training and have little motivation to improve. And management of education is weak and often ineffective.
Any society that could allow that kind of total collapse had to seriously re-examine itself. How do we rebuild the entire system?
There is a desire for reform, but policies and plans have not been implemented effectively. Financial mismanagement means funds often do not reach schools as intended.
All the money that has been filtering away daily, day in, day out, if we channel it to the right quarters, definitely we are going to get there.
ESPIN is working in Nigeria with the federal government and in 6 states to bring about changes in the educational system as a whole.
Education is life. There's just no way you can become a good citizen of your own country, of your own locality, without education.
For schools to be transformed into dynamic learning environments, many things need to happen at the same time. So ESPIN is supporting simultaneous action on multiple fronts. At the school level, there is support to improve the number of children attending and support to improve the learning opportunities of those children already in school. Within communities, there is support to enable the public to demand better services and accountability from government. And at the state and local government level, there is support to develop effective policies, laws, and budgets. Finally, at the federal level, there is support to improve the national governance framework for education. To understand all the work that is ongoing, we can look at examples from across Nigeria where ESPIN is working. At the state and local government level, better planning, budgeting, and monitoring and evaluation are critical to improving basic education. To meet these objectives, extensive research has been done to understand all the problems in our schools and how they can be addressed. This has led each state to prepare a 3-year operational plan known as a Medium-Term Sector Strategy, or MTSS.
In the long run, you discover that if you don't plan very well, you will fail in whatever you do.
The MTSS, first and foremost, is to provide a guideline for the implementation of education policy in Kaduna State. It also, regardless of who is in government or out of government, you have a document for the first time to be able to work with to achieve results.
The Medium-Term Sector Strategy, or MTSS, has specific goals, responsibilities assigned, and funding allocated over the next 3 years to address issues such as school buildings, water and sanitation, teaching materials, and the critical area of teacher quality. Paulina Teller is the Education Secretary for Kachia Local Government Area in Kaduna State, where many of the schools face huge challenges that need to be addressed by the MTSS. Visiting Kwara Primary School, Paulina finds none of the teachers are present at the school.
The headmaster is not around. The teachers are not around. He is the district education officer. I really wanted to know why the teachers were so absent.
The only complaint they will give is that they have gone for salary.
A woman in the market who has a child in the primary school will normally just send the child to school, not knowing what is happening in the school. But with the midterm sector strategy, things are planned. Teachers are recruited to meet the needs of the school.
And carry 1. That's why you are going to carry. You won't throw it away. You put it somewhere here.
In schools, the quality of the teaching is vital. In Kwara State, it was realized that little learning was actually taking place in classrooms. So, a test was developed to evaluate all of the 23,000 teachers working in the state. By understanding the level of the teachers, steps could be introduced to improve their skills. But before the test could take place, all the stakeholders needed to be won over to the reform process.
The main thing that disturbed the teachers at that time was the fact that they felt government was going to use that to sack teachers. But when we got the words of the commissioner and the word of the governor that it was meant to move us forward, and we saw the reason in it, we had to go to our members.
The state government, with the support of the union, now tested all 23,000 primary school teachers with the primary 4 exam.
The result we got from the assessment was totally shocking. Less than 5% of our teachers can actually do what we expect by our own curriculum a primary 4 child to be able to do.
This evaluation is now being carried out in other states across Nigeria.
We don't believe the medicine for headache is cutting off the head. If we send 90% of our teachers out of job, then what will happen?
In Kwara, to urgently improve the quality of teaching, a special task team was selected on merit and intensively trained.
If we can produce primary school pupils who can read and write, communicate effectively in English, and can even work out simple mathematical solutions, then our problem is half solved.
The State School Improvement Team works with teachers and head teachers to improve their knowledge and teaching skills.
Good teaching is only when pupils are involved in the class. In a poor teaching now, that is where the teacher takes control of every activity, and that will not help the learner.
To entrench these new skills, the states are completely reforming the monitoring and inspection of schools.
In the Teacher Service Commission, you have inspectorate units. In the State Universal Basic Education Board, you have inspectorate unit. In the ministry headquarters here, you have inspectorate unit. All of them working at cross purposes, no dialogue, no form of interaction, everybody doing their thing.
Work is now underway to change the way schools are inspected, to develop a collaborative approach that gives head teachers, teachers, and pupils the support they need. In Lagos, BC Lawal is part of the new Quality Assurance Initiative that supports better teaching and learning in schools.
We're just here to help to make things better. That is, to help the learners to achieve at their maximum potential.
For the next lesson, I want you to go over it on your own.
A lot of training will help teachers to focus on what a learner can do to improve and help themselves, they themselves to focus on what they can do to help learners to improve, because teachers can do a lot.
Parents have a right to know and to ask questions. What they should expect from us is good quality teachers that help the learning and improve the learning of the children, schools that are inviting and ensures that children want to come back again and again to learn.
I think there's a wind of change blowing around, and I think I think in the next 5 years we'll be talking, and parents will know exactly what to expect. You know, they will know their children are well catered for, particularly in public schools.
Reform is also required at the colleges of education, where quantity had become more important than quality. At Oro College in Kwara, over 5,000 new teachers were graduating every year. But the problem was not just a huge number of students. The curriculum being taught at the college was totally different to the subjects taught in primary schools. This has now been reformed.
The new curriculum at Oro, I'm happy, is more or less unprecedented in the history of a college of education in Nigeria, in the sense that we are now focusing on subjects available in our primary schools and junior secondary.
All of these reforms are working to a single goal, giving our children the quality education they deserve.
When a parent puts his child or her child in our school, what should they expect that child to be able to do? The answer to this question must be known to us in the ministry and must be known to the parents and the communities. So at every point, if that child is not able to do those things that we have all agreed collectively that that child should be able to do, then you have the right or even the responsibility to go to government and say, look, I put my child in your school. You promised me that my child will be able to do this. Then my child is unable to do it. Why?
Community involvement and participation is essential to the functioning and success of schools. So ESPIN supports communities to enable them to demand for better services